Hello there, everyone. Patricia Hayes here, and welcome to Coffee Time Career Chat. Super excited to be here and have you join in today because we've got some new things on the horizon, and I can't wait to get started. But if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Again, my name is Patricia. I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And what all that means is I enjoy helping people get to the next level of where they want to be in their career, personally and professionally, but to do so in a way that's authentic, that's true to their values and their purpose, and helps them build some really authentic, sustainable relationships along the way. So that's who you're dealing with. And today we are starting our new series, leveraging your network at any age and level. I'm really excited about doing this because it's the first time I've done this in this fashion, right? Where I'm really am going to be talking about what the very young, first timers coming on the scene, into the career and work space to the more senior level person. Most of the time, if you find a lot of my things, there's a presumption that you've got some work experience behind you, that you're even at a young professional or older or more advanced in your career. This gives me the opportunity to help lay some groundwork and to address a lot of questions I get from people who are like, what do I tell my niece, son, daughter who? And will allow you to be able to share that. So I really hope that you will share it. Listen in, because I find that a lot of times we learn some things ourselves, even when we think it doesn't, quote, apply to us. So listen in and make sure to share and give me some feedback. I'd love to hear that as well. So the 4 levels that we're going to deal with over the course of the next 4 weeks are going to be level 1, which is the newbie, really high schooler, high school graduate, college graduate, all the new things. Secondly, it's going to be doing that first kind of career transition, that first job change, which is a shorter time period than usual. Or than in historically, I'll say. So we're going to make a presumption of a 3 to 5 year transition time period, right? And then the next one, the level 3, is going to be a mid-career person. And lastly, a senior level person. So I'm going to take you through each of those levels with some observations, some real-time experiences that I've seen people to have, and welcome your input, questions, and things like that, because, I can flesh this out, come back to it another time. Okay. So here's the thing. First thing on this level 1, this newbie section, the first thing I always want to make sure when you're talking about is that you are never too young to start building strong professional relationships. Now, as a high schooler coming straight out, sometimes people are not thinking about that. They're like, professional, I'm just trying to, either go to college, go to community college, or get a job. I'm just going straight to getting a job. And I'm not thinking about this, quote, professional relationships thing. Well, don't make that mistake. Don't let your young people make that mistake, because the moment they enter the workforce, whether it's immediately to a job, or whether it's or career, because there are some times when they've got some level of technical experience now that can drop them right into the middle of some high-tech work opportunities, or if they're going to college, they really do need to start thinking about what are the types of relationships I'm building. And I'm not talking about friendships per se. I am talking about relationships that will help me for the long term as I pursue my goals and dreams in work and in life, ultimately. Okay. So number 1, you're never too young to start building those strong relationships. Whether you're a high school graduate, whether you're in college now, or, you're, freshly starting your first job, or whether you're about to be a college graduate. Now, here's the second thing I want to say to you, which is your age is not an excuse to slack off. Rather, this is a time to use that youth and energy to learn, right? You are very much in the midst of a great learning opportunity. You're learning how to be an adult. You're learning how to perhaps live on your own, learning how to learning how to take care of yourself independent of parents and guardians and things like that. So you may say, oh my gosh, it's just one more thing. Sure it is, but it's also an opportunity where you can do that because you're already open to learning all of these things. Reality, what's one more thing? But seriously, there's so much you can learn. And the earlier you do, the easier it will be for you. And quite frankly, the more comfortable you will get with your experiences and learning how to reach out. Okay. Because that's really that most of the times folks this young will deal with is having that fear of interacting with other people, particularly folks who are older to them, who are senior to them. And, being an 18-year-old, 22-year-old and entering a workforce with people who are 10, 20, 30 years your senior and calling them by their first name, perhaps, is kind of like really startling, right? So there are ways that you can help to utilize this leveraging of these relationships to help you facilitate that process, to help make it easier. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. The third thing I want to point out, and we're going to spend a little time here, is that you do have resources. The first thing I hear from people, they're like, oh, I don't know anybody. I'm never going to be able to do that. I can't look at that internship because I don't know anybody. Like, what am I going to do? So they think I can't do X. I can't get that, new job. I can't get that internship. I can't, become a new associate at. Guess what? Yes, you can. That's the first thing. Like, flip your thinking and say, yes, you can. And then be like, now let's talk about the how. How does that happen? Okay. Here are some key groups of people and relationships that are always going to be helpful to you, but are extremely helpful to you as a newbie to the work world. Okay. Number one, hate to tell you, but those family friends are going to be completely necessary to helping you get to that next level. People completely underestimate the power of those family relationships, those family friend relationships, until they're looking at trying to utilize them for themselves, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, most of the time, young people are used to their mom or their dad or their guardian making that connection for them, okay? And that could very well still be true, right? But you need to start thinking about this in terms of how can I still connect and leverage these relationships, and then recognize that I may have to transition these to where I'm dealing with them myself, and not through my mom, not through my dad, not through my aunt, right? So that's a reality. But those are absolutely, very real things. Closely related are your friends' parents, right? Your friends' parents count in that group as well, because people will always talk about their kids, they'll talk about what they're doing and share that information. And someone will say, hey, if they ever need a job, if they ever need this opportunity, they can do that. This has come up multiple times for me, literally in just the last few weeks, right? Last couple of months. One is a family friend who was looking to get an internship. They're still in college. They're looking for this next level internship to go with a class. And what happened? Their mom called me saying, hey, I'm wondering if you can help her, with this situation, because they knew my background. And I'm like, absolutely. Right. And so having them then say, but now they need to talk to me directly, and having that conversation. What is it you're trying to do? What do you want to do? What kind of credit do you need? All of these things, connecting them with that internship opportunity. And several weeks later, bingo, a response back telling me, Hey, just FYI, I did get the internship, right? That alone is so much, so many different things wrapped up into it. But the point that we're making for here is the family and friends resource that happens. More recently, just this week, my son is an athlete. He's graduating high school. He's going to be playing football at the next level. And what is happening? People coming out of the woodworks that we didn't even know, saying, "Hey, we have this family friend that went to that university and they played this sport there. Hey, we just found out that old friends of ours from our old hometown, their son is going to be playing, football at that level." And these are the things that get passed along, right? And these are going to be opportunities for these young people to connect on their own. So the initiator might be a family member, a family friend, the parent of one of your friends. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you to actually make the connection, right? To follow up on it. And that's going to be the challenge, because a lot of times we just kind of, come and go and all of that. But actually remembering to follow up with people is going to be invaluable, because what you may follow up now, and just even if it's just saying hello, our parents introduced us or just wanted us to touch bases, can end up being a long-term relationship 5, 10, 15 years from now. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to other people that I've mentored. It's very much a possibility. All right. Another really great resource for building those relationships over time is going to be from your school groups, organizations, whether you're in high school and it's athletics, honor societies, professional associated, societies, hobby groups, or whether you're in college and you're a part of a sorority or fraternity, certain clubs or other professional and technical associations. All of those things are ripe opportunities for building and creating some new relationships that will serve you well throughout your working career, right? So if you're in high school and you're just coming out and you're like, well, yeah, I don't know. Sure you do. If you were involved in any kind of activity, those people are ones that you should be able to reach back out to ask questions of them, to say, hey, do you know someone who can? And to learn those things and to utilize all of those resources that you get while you're in high school and college. There are things that exist that they're just literally sitting there for you. So at the high school level, it's the counselors, it's the counselors with access to scholarship information and work opportunities immediately following college. A lot of times people do not follow up on those activities. The other one is when you're in college, you have a whole career center that's built specifically to help college students, their own college students, find jobs post-graduation. And universities and colleges are completely invested in that because their reputation rests on making sure that their graduates are able to get to work sooner, faster, and in positions that they actually enjoy, right? So you have a ton of resources as a high schooler, as a college student that you can access. Start with those organizations that you're a part of first, and then venture out to the people who are a part of those, who you've hung out with, who you've served with, who you've played ball with all these years, who you are, serving on the sorority or fraternity leadership team with. Those are all going to be relationships that you can touch back on at some point during your professional life and career as you move forward. Okay. Those are really huge pockets. I brushed through them, but those are huge, huge pockets to think about. All right. The next one is, again, another obvious: teachers and professors. And I know a lot of times, much more probably in high school than in college, you get out and you're like, I'm done. I'm never coming back to this place. I don't want to talk to those people ever again. Well, not always the smartest thing to do, because sometimes your biggest advocate is that one or two teacher who spoke up for you, who pushed you, who really became a mentor for you. Maybe it's a coach, but there's someone who's tied for you. Anyone who you've been able to ask to write a recommendation for an internship or a college application or a job or something, and they did it, that's a person you need to stay in touch with, because they do not have to do that. And they did it because they believed in you, and they made a choice. They do not have to do it. Their name is going on that letter, on that recommendation, right? So that is absolutely a person that you should stay in touch with. Now, as you get to college, or let's say you're going straight to work from high school, and these maybe a supervisor, someone you're working with, an immediate supervisor that you're working with, your professors that you're working with on special projects, absolutely becomes even more important to stay in contact with those people. I tell the story all the time that when I was in college, I did an unpaid internship at the Capitol. And that person who took me under their wings for this unpaid internship, I am still in contact with decades later. It's at least 30 years. I can't keep up. Something like that. I was like, I think that's okay. Like literally still in touch with her. Okay. So these are incredibly valuable relationships that you can come back to. I know I've spoken with some students at the university where I attended and here in town, and I'm speaking with them about networking and building relationships. And a couple of students called me on it, and they went and found one of my old professors that I use as a story in my stories, who connected me with that mentor that I have. He is still at the university, and they connected and said, hey, one of your prior students, Patricia Hayes, has told me that. And there they are sending me pictures after they've connected with him to say, we talked to him. He was like, absolutely. She's a wonderful person. I enjoyed writing her letters of recommendation. I mean, like all these years later, and he remembered that he'd done that when I didn't even remember that, right? This is how important some of these relationships can be. It's not going to be all of your teachers. It's not going to be all of your professors or all of your supervisors, but there's normally one or two, maybe three that you really connected with, that really took an interest in you. And you need to stay connected to them, even if it's just saying hi, dropping a note, saying hello, coming back to visit when you're back, at home, when you're, on campus, when you're in college, checking in with them to get their opinion about something, because that is probably a long-term mentor in the making. Right? Someone that you can always go back to, who will be able to provide you some input when you start making, decisions that you're really challenged with, or that you're trying to figure out your next path, or what you need to be addressing next in your career, academically, professionally, or whatever. Okay. The next one on the resources is an obvious one. Stay connected to your friend group. Now, again, this is a point of growth, right? So I'm not saying you're trying to stay besties with your best friend from elementary school for the rest of your life. Probably not going to happen. Those people who have that opportunity that's truly a blessing. It's an awesome thing. But most of the time we grow past people as we get exposed to new things, as we get exposed to new people. But occasionally there's also a couple of people that we do stay connected with, who we find out they're like, oh my gosh, we went to school together in high school. You don't see them for a few years, and then you show up and you're working together, or you show up and you're participating in the same organization in college. whatever. Those things happen. So leave yourself open to stay connected with some of your friend group from high school and especially from college, because that's really a very key time period where you're evolving, you're growing, but having someone that you're a little familiar with or who knows a little bit of you from that, like that's a great thing to be able to carry forward. Again, will it last forever? I'm not saying that. That's not the point. The point is that you're building on these relationships. You're learning how to stay connected to people. And when it's someone that you already know or familiar with, it makes it easier, right? When you're learning how to transition, when you're learning how to evolve as a person, just as they are, and determining whether or not this is going to be a long-term friendship that moves forward or one where you're basically kind of like colleagues and acquaintances, but where there's no beef or any, harm or anything like that. But it's just a matter of like, hey, it was great to see you. What's going on? How are you doing? And, what opportunities, if you need anything, let me know. Okay. Those things happen and they continue along as well. All right. So there's a ton of resources that you do have access to. I just mentioned them to you. What I always advise people to do, because you may still be like so overwhelmed, is to literally sit down and write them down. Get a little journal that you can keep and come back to, and literally, keep, writing down some of those people who have been really helpful to you, right? Who have taken an interest in, I call them your fan club, right? We all have them. That person who's really been supportive of you, a family friend, a parent's, a friend's parent, a teacher or professor. Write them down, and write down also like why you think that they stay connected, or what their interest was, or what it was, whether it was an organization, it's because of they wrote a letter of recommendation for you, whatever that might be. And then think about how you can be deliberate about staying in touch, right? Which is our last point here for today, which is take action regularly to stay connected, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. Depending on the relationship, it could be as simple as a text message to check in. It could be an email. It could be a phone call, right? It can be, oh, I'm in town, let's have lunch, let's have dinner, whatever. It's that whole coming back home from college and you're getting together with some old friends and go have dinner, right? So those are simple things that can happen. They happen naturally, but you also want to be deliberate about that, right? Not just the ones. Think about those folks who maybe don't come to mind right immediately, but you may think, oh, hey, you know what? I wonder how, Susie's doing. Maybe I should check in with her and see if she's going to be around over the break. Okay. Those things always are really important to do. If you were engaged in an activity while you were in high school or college, it's totally not uncommon to come back for that, right? That's what high school and college homecomings are all about. You get to see people you hadn't seen in a little bit and reconnect over a sport, an organization, an activity that you engaged in. There was some commonality there, right? And so to re-engage that, again, that's a very natural, not forced way of reconnecting with people. And those may only happen once or twice a year, and that's okay. This is you exercising and actually building a muscle about relationship building and learning how to do it. So don't stress yourself over, oh, I have to do this and that, whatever. No, just do the things that come naturally, the natural opportunities that present themselves, and follow through on them. How about also, here's the easy way, social media. Now, I know for the young folks, I cannot keep up with all those apps. I try. I have young people and, my son and daughter, and that's how I keep up. But even then, I know there's other stuff. So I know like that, they always say Facebook is for old people. I'm like, yeah, just like I always tell my kids and their friends. Yeah, but old people use Facebook and email, and old people give scholarship money. So you might want to start using your email and Facebook. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So it doesn't have to be something that you use all the time, but you might seriously consider, setting up a Facebook account and just letting it sit there so you can check in with your friends, parents, or when your parents are saying, "Hey, I'm so proud of my daughter." That's me. And there's some way for people to come back and congratulate you, to reach out to you. Okay. You got to stop thinking small and start thinking bigger, grown up, more adult on this. This is very much the thing about email. Now, that one I will not joke about, because as you enter college and the workforce, that is the mainstream of communication, right? Is being able to utilize an email. I am not going to get into the communications piece of it and the trainings on that. That's a whole other conversation. But being professional via email, starting with what your email name is, and then using it to follow up with people, to stay in touch with people, is going to be really, really important. Okay. So that is kind of an aside, but not really, because it is an integral part of staying connected, and using your email to do that. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not. Oh, well, let me first say about Instagram, Snapchat, and whatever those things. Again, when you're just keeping up with friends, you're connecting with new people that you're just met, whatever those social media apps, it may be something totally different in 5 years, whatever it may be, but utilizing that again to leverage your relationships and stay connected with people. But I would be remiss if I did not keep the older but giddy on the classic when it comes to staying in touch professionally, and that's LinkedIn. I do not have any type of relationship with LinkedIn. I've literally just been using it since it launched, and how I've used it has evolved over time and will continue. So whether it's LinkedIn, for now, or whatever the social media platform for professionals will be in the future, that is one that I'm always going to highly recommend. That I don't care whether you're a high school student or a college student, that you immediately set one up, because it is something that you're going to be able to utilize for years to come, through emails changing, through phone numbers changing, all of that. That is one place where you can have a constant for your career and work experience as you grow. It's a great place to keep that information, because people, again, that's an easy way for them to stay connected, and for you to connect up with folks that you meet on the fly as you grow, and to be able to reach back out to them. Okay. All right. That was a lot. I know it's going to be a great series, but I would love to hear your input. What are some of the things, and I did not get into the whole mentor thing. I have a whole different coffee chat on mentorships. But if you have a young person in your midst, in your realm, I would love if you would share this with them, share this video. It is available on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can share the YouTube link with them and have them give a listen to it. It's make it a rite of passage as they graduate from high school and graduate from college and moving forward. But I'd also love to hear some of your input on different things that you have passed along to the young people in your life as they enter the quote real world, become grown-ups, and look and need to develop relationships that really work for them long term. All right. Take care. Thanks so much. Next week, we'll start with level 2 and start talking about when you're in that first transition period from your first job. What does it look like to leverage your relationships then? All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.